the deportation of Miguna against court orders, when you say, if it's something that was done in personal capacity, I know you said previously that you didn't receive the court order, but you tell us. Yes, Miguna, the courts did find that his deportation was unlawful. You are again Interior CS at the time. That was your docket to declare him, I forget the term, but basically...
Persona non grata.
Persona non grata. Is that the legal terminology? Yeah.
I don't know what I'll ever do to be able to deal with this Miguna matter once and for all.
Mic, yeah.
Once and for all. Now it has become a point of amusement for me, and it's amusement because the court has pronounced itself several times on the matter. The supposed violation of a court order, I have been a competent court of jurisdiction, the Court of Appeal at 3-judge bench, has found out that I did not violate the court order. The matter has been explained several times. Now, I don't know why we keep going back to it. I think the populist nature of it sometimes prohibits people from understanding the matter in its own context. I am the first one to tell you that I deported a lot of people as Minister for Interior. Many of them, for criminal activities, non-Kenyans who were engaged in all manner of monkeying around and so on. The case of Miguna was fairly straightforward, and as I've explained before, I actually cannot see any violation. And I would like to ask journalists, including you guys, before you address this matter, please spare yourself some time. Go to the files and read some of the existing literature on this matter. Read the judgment by the High Court by Justice Lenaola on citizenship acquisition. Talk to some people at the Immigration Department on, when the new constitution kicked in, how will you regain your citizenship? If you had renounced your citizenship, the process is there. We've gone through that drama, I don't know how many times in my life. That piece of paper that is prescribed, to this day, by the way, even as I sit here before you today, Mariam, that is the same piece of paper people feel to regain their citizenship. It has never changed because it's provided for in the law. You cannot circumvent it. You cannot go around it. Right. And so I just don't see what my crime is on this matter, yet people keep coming back to it and so on and so forth. I guess I have many other weaknesses that people could dwell on.
Yes.
So find them and dwell on them, because that is a matter that has been settled and sorted out.
So when this, the contempt of court ruling was overturned, but on procedure, not on merit, if I'm correct. On procedure, not on merit, meaning that it was the way it was
done and handled.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the not on the merit of the case, but on the procedure of the case.
The technicality.
Yeah, on a technicality.
The process used to convict Dr. Matiang'i,
yes,
and his co-appellants was fatally flawed.
Was fatally flawed, not on the merit of the actual deportation case.
We can sit here and split hairs the whole morning, and I don't know. I can't pass judgment myself on when a court is right or wrong, because that's not within my province. All I know is that a competent court made a decision on this matter, and for heaven or hell's sake, I honestly think there are many other things that we need to do in this life than concentrate on that particular one incident. And I don't know why that particular one incident that has been explained over and over and over again, and especially when I don't know why people don't.
We can pivot. We can pivot, but let me explain why. It is because it speaks to a respect for the law, of systems and things like that. Speaks to the same issues as those of like extrajudicial killings, etc. It's just, are you willing to be a part of an administration that wasn't straightforward about certain things? But
and
we
in
can
fact,
move
as
on
we
to other
segue into other things.
The reason why these questions will keep being asked of you, and they will be asked over and over and over again, is because as we look into the future and we're looking to a possible Matiang'i presidency, we do have to contend with what Matiang'i as cabinet secretary, who Matiang'i as cabinet secretary was, and what that leadership style looked like.
That's not a bad segue. If we're to ask Dr. Matiang'i, because we're going into now politics, I did want to ask about how opposition seems fragmented, but he'll answer that in a moment. It's also to speak to how you're taking all this and carrying it forward to say, in my presidency, these are the things that will absolutely not happen under my watch. Under my presidency, I will fix this broken system. How are you navigating now, thinking through the questions that Mariam is asking that you're not asked again in 7 years?
You know, by the way, Janet, the very unfortunate situation, and please allow me to be very blunt on this matter, the very unfortunate situation is that in most cases, in public affairs, especially some of my colleagues or some of our friends from the media fraternity, people come into some of these debates or come into these issues like this issue of Miguna with an astounding level of ignorance. Because you see, when you talk about the law being followed, there are two tracks of actions that I've taken. So when was the law followed and when was the law not followed? We could never have acted in that kind of manner if we didn't have the law protecting us. You have a prescription as a Minister for Interior on how people regain citizenship. You cannot go outside of it. You just have to follow that particular prescription. And we are signatories to a lot of international conventions on how people travel. The law is very clear on how people travel and come into the country. When someone arrives at the airport and they want to enter the country using an ID card, so when is the law followed? When you do not deny him entry or when you allow him entry with an ID card? You know, the question of saying following the law is also, in this particular case, a very tendentious and sometimes almost amusing arrangement. When people keep saying the law was not followed, which law was not followed? Because you see, as a public officer who's acting at that particular time, when are you following the law and when are you not following the law? So are you following the law by allowing someone to come in with an ID card which is not allowed? Or are you following the law when you are saying, no, you cannot come in with an ID card because you're not allowed to do that? You see, this is why I keep saying we can sit here and split hairs the whole morning on this particular matter. Yet, I even gave an example the other day in another interview. When that drama was playing out that evening, Governor James Orengo called me, who was then the lawyer. And you know, by the way, you don't go higher than that in terms of legal competence and prowess in this country. Orengo is one of our finest lawyers in this country, by all standards. And he asked me, Fred, is there a way we can end this drama? I asked him back, you know, your senior counsel, Wakili, just give me even the simplest excuse under the law I can hang on and get this guy out of the airport. And he himself told me there is none. He has to fill that piece of paper. Now, so when was the law followed? When you are saying follow the procedures that everyone follows, or you implement the same law that says you cannot come in on this particular basis. And then, Janet, if you give me time, you bend over backwards because the interest of the citizen in resolving the problem is in some of those extra miles you are traveling to resolve the matter. You take Nyayo House to the airport for him. You literally take Nyayo House to tell the Director General Immigration and everybody. Because you see, every citizen in this country, every citizen, if one Kenyan citizen was in danger in Senegal, or there was fighting in Sudan and one Kenyan was in danger, that is the responsibility of government. So it doesn't matter that you go and take the whole Nyayo House to him at the airport. And even then, he's not cooperative. So what are you then supposed to do?
Dr. Ari, let's let it rest just because we're going to run out of time. We don't have you for too much longer.